Have you all taken out your registers or notebook with you or not? Please comment yes so that I can see that you all have your notebooks with you. All right. So let's begin our class. As today we are going to discuss about how to attempt a pictorial source, right? Even though we have discussed in the class, but still there were few students who were not able to get what actually they need to write in the pictorial source, right? Even though I will be uploading the picture source, sorry, this PowerPoint on the Google Classroom, but still I want all of you to pay attention. You don't need to write anything in this, but when we will be discussing the pictures, then you will be writing the pointers for that, right? Wait, few more students are there. Okay, Hamda, Miss, when whatever assignment we are given, we have to do them in copy. No, Hamda, you don't need to do those assignments in the copy as well. Once you are done in the on the Google Classroom or you have attached the document, you don't need to do it in the copy, right? Because you are saving that somewhere in your desktop, right? All right. So when you will be given any kind of picture source or pictorial source, you need to have lots of things to be clear in your mind before you start. But what we will be getting after the discussion of whole topic, so this is the objective of today's lesson, that you will be able to discuss various ways to attempt a pictorial source question. You will be able to attempt picture source in a proper way, right? All right, few more students. Roshna is joining again. Somebody asked one more. Ariba, miss, reminder, please don't admit people with names. Okay, Ariba, thank you. All right, let's begin. And I'm not going to look into the chat right now, right? So that we can pay attention towards what we are going to discuss, right? I will listen to your words, to your questions in the end, or when I'll give you the time to speak, right? So let's begin. All right. So first of all, definitely we know that when we are having a picture source, we need to interpret, right? We need to tell what is in the picture source, right? But when you have the source, how can you interpret until and unless you have to until and unless you will be asked these questions with yourself, right? Who created it? Like if we studied the subcontinent history, so might be possible Hindu have created, Muslims have created, or might be possible British have created, right? So we need to see that who is creating that particular source, who have created that particular source. We need to first look into that, right? Then when is it created? Is it created actually the same time when that particular event was happening, or you can say it was created afterwards, right? If I say like war of independence taken place in the year 1857, if any source is taken place at that particular time, that has some different perception, right? But if that picture source is being created regarding war of independence after several years, maybe in 1900 or maybe in 1995, like now, so definitely their perception is totally different. So we need to see then when it was created, then what is it portraying. Now definitely every picture is having different kind of meanings, right? Like if I say that if British is making any kind of source, any kind of picture source, then definitely they must be biased towards that depiction, whatever they are trying to portray, right? Might be possible if that picture source related to Muslims, so that is also having some kind of biasness in that, by if that source is made by the Hindus or by the British when they were not in the good relation with the Muslims, right? So you can see that the portrayal is very important. Let me add more student. Who is Usman Khan? Anybody knows who is Usman Khan? 9C. Okay, 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 ठीक है. All right, continue. So where it published, right? Like if I have just given you the example of 1857 War of Independence, right? Where if that source is related to that, if that source is published there where that event has actually taken place, that definitely have something different perception. But if that source is being published somewhere in the Britain, then definitely they must have the different idea or different perceptions. So we need to check that where it is published, right? And who would have seen this image, right? If I say that the picture is being published in Britain, so definitely the British people will be looking into that, right? And if I say that the picture is being published in India at the time of War of Independence, so who is going to look into that picture? Definitely Indians. So the portrayal of that particular picture to a specific kind of audience is going to be different, right? Everybody is cleared with these questions. Are you cleared with this? Ariba, okay, last one is who would have seen this image, means who is going to look at that picture. Like if I say the newspaper, right? We have the Dawn newspaper, we have the Jung, right? Urdu newspaper. So that is being published for whom? For the people in Pakistan or for the people in the foreign country? Yes, Ariba. Ariba, answer. In Pakistan, right? So if that is going to be published in Pakistan, then definitely the people of Pakistan is going to look into that. So in that newspaper, they can talk against the British, they can talk against the Hindus, right? But if that particular newspaper is going to be published somewhere else in another country, then definitely they will be modifying different kind of things in such way, you can say manipulation could be possible in such ways, so that they are not going to get into that particular thing what they actually wanted to deliver, right? So whenever we are publishing something, whenever something is being published, whether it's an article or it's a picture source, that will based on that who is going to read, who is going to see, or who is going to check that picture. Clear? All right, now we are moving to the next. Now let's next you. No, Alize, you don't need to write. You will be getting this PowerPoint, so you can have it. I want you to have the notebook just to write the pointers which we'll be discussing regarding the picture source. We'll be discussing to the points which are very important to look into, right? So first, we need to remember that we have to analyze the source, right? If we are not analyzing the source, then definitely we are not going to write the correct answer or correct interpretation, right? You have to give a minute detail to everything, but you don't need to go into such detail like the author names, or because author name can be anonymous at a time, at most of the time, right? But you should try to give the detail on the highlighted features rather than giving the attention towards the minor details. Remember, we have discussed the Bengal partition picture. Do you remember? I hope you all remember, right? So in Bengal partition's picture, where Lord Curzon was uh, standing holding an X, right? So when we were discussing, we have discussed everything in the picture, that whatever we are able to see, right? If you can recall, there were a few students who recalled that the at the background the water is being there, the buildings are there, right? So if we look into the main idea, that was only the Curzon and the fallen statue of Mother India, right? Because they are completing the 5 points which you are looking for, right? So you don't need to give the attention towards those background details. I hope you are getting my point, right? So when there are less things in highlighted features, so then you can look into the background detail. If you don't have much idea for the background, you don't need to look into the background, because looking at the background features is not compulsory, it's not necessary. Is it clear? All right, use the information given in the source. You have to recognize, you have to detect, you have to distinguish, you have to identify whatever information is being provided to you in that particular picture, right? You cannot go directly on your own. You cannot, because if you can recall, whenever you have picture source in the paper, most of you got the cancellation in the answer because they have written extra detail, right? So that's what I used to tell you every time. You need to make sure that whatever you are writing, it should be in a limited way. It should be only relevant to that particular source. You just need to extract what is there in the picture. And when you think that there are not more points, then you can give the inferences, right? And inferences are definitely those things which are in your knowledge, right? That's the last point. That source evidence based on your knowledge. You have to talk about your knowledge once you are done with analyzing whole picture from different perspectives, right? All right, now tips for analyzing the political images. First thing is symbolism, right? So you can see, if you're getting different kind of picture source, they do have some kind of symbols. Like if we say like cartoonist is there and he's drawing some pictures, he's making some pictures. So cartoonists usually use simple objects or symbols to stand for larger concepts or ideas. Even after you identify the symbols in the cartoon, think about what the cartoonist intends each symbol to stand for, right? If any symbol which is not relevant to that particular thing, then try to analyze that which kind of symbol it can be, what the cartoonist or what the author is trying to convey in his picture through its symbol. Then exaggeration, right? Might be possible the author is going to exaggerate most of the things. Sometimes cartoonists overdo or exaggerate for the thing, the picture or the topic or what the issue they are creating, the physical characteristics of people or things, in order to make a point so that they will be proved right for that particular thing, right? When you study a cartoon, look for any characteristics that seem overdone or overblown, right? Like you can say the facial characteristics and the clothing are some of the most commonly exaggerated characteristics, the part of the exaggeration. When we look at the sorry when we look and towards the facial expressions, or the way they are clothing, the way they are styling themselves, they are actually the way of cartoonists to exaggerate that particular event or particular thing. Then try to decide what point the cartoonist was trying to make through exaggeration. We need to look into that which kind of exaggeration they are making. Like if I say like again, if I talk about that same picture, Bengal partition, if you can recall, Lord Curzon was wearing Indian costume. That cartoonists were trying to prove that he was wearing an Indian costume. And what was the answer you guys have given me at that time? Can you recall that? Hello there. Can you recall why Curzon was wearing that Indian costume in that Bengal partition picture? I cannot see any. Uh, I'm waiting for your comments. Okay, Ali Azam correct, Mustafa correct, Ariba Izhar correct. Okay, I will just read one of the answers so that you can recall that he wanted to prove that he was like an Indian too. This is the answer by Mustafa Advani. Alishba, he tried to show he was one of the Indians and supported him. Alishba Kamran, right. Aliza Zahid, right. No problem, Kinza, it's okay. All right. So, Ariba is right. So, whoever have given the correct answers, so you all are able to get that point that in that thing, in that picture, the cartoonist was trying to exaggerate the characteristic of um, Lord Curzon, right? So, I hope you are able to understand what is exaggeration. Now, labeling, which kind of labeling can be possible in the picture source, like cartoonists usually often objects or people to make it clear exactly what they stand for. Sometimes they write it down. If you can recall, there was one of the picture source given to you in the paper in which there was written 1932. I guess that was the waterfront round table conference picture, right? And then we have seen one of the cab, one of the car, that vehicle was having the label of India, which represent that vehicle, that Jeep is India, and that was run by the British, right? Remember, I hope you can recall that picture because that you have done in the paper, which was regarding the roundtable conferences, right? So they cartoonists usually label their stuff, like watch out for the different labels that appear in a cartoon, or and ask yourself why the cartoonist chose to label that particular person or object, and does the label make the meaning of the object clearer, right? So we need to look at that particular label. Then analogy, right? Analogy is you can say is a comparison between two unlike things that share some characteristics, you can say. By comparing a complex issue or situation with the more familiar one, cartoonists can help their readers see it in a different light. Even though after you have studied a cartoon for a while, try to decide that what the cartoon's main analogy is, right? What two situation does the cartoon compare? One, you understand the main analogy, decide if this comparison makes the cartoonist point clearer to you. I hope you are getting this point, analogy as well, right? In analogy, we need to compare things, right? Which kind of which picture source we are. Yes, remember. I hope you must remember we have discussed one of the picture, the last picture I guess we have discussed before the school closure, in which India and Pakistan, when one person was sitting in a library, one part was showing India and other part was showing Pakistan, right? And we have discussed a lot of things regarding that picture, and we have seen that what the picture which was being captured by some person, what that picture is trying to portray. There were different analogy, means they were talking about the Pakistani perspective, they were talking about the Indian perspective as well, right? Like this, if we talk about again the Bengal partition picture, that was again giving you the analogy in which they were giving the idea of what kind of characteristics was Lord Curzon was having, and what kind of feature was that broken statue was having, which was portraying as a Mother India, right? Is it clear to you all before I move on to the next point? Abdul Rahman, labeling is just a tag, right? In which, I have just given you the example of one of the picture source, which we have done, which you have attempted in the paper, right? Then when there was one of the vehicle was there, and on that vehicle there was mentioned India and the year 1932, and that car or that jeep was driven by British person, and the Indian person was sitting at the back, right? So you can get the idea that that vehicle belongs to India, right? We will be discussing few more pictures today, so maybe then you will be able to understand more. Okay, the last point over here is irony. Now, what is irony? It is the difference between the ways things are and the way things should be, or the way the things are expected to be. Cartoonists often use irony to express their opinion on an issue. Definitely, if you are the cartoonist, if you are the one who is going to draw the picture, you will be giving your perception, right? If you support one event and I'm the one who is not supporting that particular event, so and if you are drawing a picture and I'm drawing a picture, my perspective is totally different in the same event, and for the same event your opinion, your depiction is going to be different, right? So we need to see whether that cartoonist is right regarding that particular event, or he or she is biased towards that. Like when you look at a cartoon, see if you can find any irony in the situation the cartoon depicts. If you can think about what point the irony might be intended to emphasize, does the irony help the cartoonist express his or her opinion more effectively? You need to look into that. Is it clear? I hope you all are cleared with this. All right, now we are moving. Now, at the time of doing the picture, you need to ask yourself, what is the issue discussed in this political cartoon, right? Like when again I'm going to discuss about the Bengal partition directly. Even if you are not able to look at the features written, the caption written for the picture, you can easily identify, because the India that the broken statue was having the names written, East Bengal or West Bengal, Assam and all. So you were able to identify that which political event that picture is being depicting. If not, then what you are going to do the next, you will be looking at the caption. Okay, the next point. Oh, wait for a while. Okay, what is the cartoonist opinion on this issue? Either that person is supporting, or that person is against that particular event. We need to think thoroughly. We need to decide while looking at the picture in more detail, right? Then how do you think other people would perceive the source, right? Definitely, if the picture is being like, remember when we were discussing the picture sources in class, everybody is having different perspective to look at that particular picture, right? Like most of you were able to identify one features and other is going to tell the another feature. So that depends on your thinking, your perception, that what you are able to extract from that particular picture, right? So we need to look on not only towards the perspective what we have, but we need to try to look at to that perspective as well, which was the actual perception of that author, right? Then, did you find this political cartoon persuasive? Why or why not? We need to look at that as well. That either this this political cartoon is persuasive for you or not, right? Do you think that the cartoonist is trying to pursue what he or she is trying to deliver? Are you agree with this? Are you agree with the meaning, with the, you can say, with the idea which that cartoonist is trying to portray? If yes, you are agreeing, then you should tell why, and if not, then you should tell why as well, right? Means your opinion is going to matter over here. Clear? You need to see that your author, the writer of that particular source, the author of that particular source is convincing towards his audience to convey its message, right? Now, we were discussing about the symbols initially, right? So we need to see some of the symbols right now. Like if we talk about symbols, like the cartoonists use different kind of symbols in them. So victims and oppressed people can be shown in that particular event, particular picture, in a smaller way, right? To show that they are smaller and they are the ones who are aggressor, they are the ones who are being dominated. Remember, I have shown you one of the picture which was related or regarding the Mughal time period, Mughal and British era, right? In that picture I have shown you that the British were sitting on horses, right? And they were larger. They were depicting in the larger picture, and the Indians were very smaller. They were appearing very smaller in that particular picture. So definitely they were shown that they were the victims, they were the oppressed, they were the people to whom British have dominated, right? Military action is definitely going to be shown through swords or weaponry with them, right? and friendship, peace, or youth can be shown through flowers, right? And if you talk about heroes and good guys, they can be wearing white in that. If somebody is wearing black, it means they are showing some villains or the bad guys of that particular thing, right? Like if I say more about like peace, if anybody is talking about peace, so the sign dove can also be the sign, or victory sign can also be given for peace, as well as flowers. Clear, everyone? Till here everybody is clear? Basil, why you're not able to clear? I guess I'm going very slow in this. All right. I guess meeting is about to end in 5 minutes. So let me just quickly wind up this so that in the next half, we'll be discussing the pictures, right? Yeah, 5 minutes are there. So we are discussing the points. And in the next half, we'll be discussing the actual picture sources, right? All right, let's continue with this. Now, what are the steps for analyzing the political cartoons? You need to identify the characters, symbols, objects in the political cartoon, right? You have to look at for the clues and details that would give further meaning to elaborate that particular source, right? You need to identify the main idea of the cartoon by reading the caption and putting the message into your own words, right? This is the same thing which I used to keep on telling every time. And then you need to identify any biasness is there shown by the cartoonist or not. If there, then you have to talk about that particular thing as well. Now we are almost towards the analyzing step. Like if I just talk about few more suggested questions to think more about the pictorial sources, that what is the event or issue that inspired the cartoonist, right? If the cartoon has been like this, then what kind of thing is being inspired to that particular cartoonist who is drawing this, or you can say whatever the image is being portraying, whatever the event is being shown in that particular picture source, what that cartoon is actually inspired from. Now I'm talking about that particular cartoon shown in there, right? Then what background knowledge do you need to understand that particular message? You're not writing background knowledge in the answer, right? Again, I'm repeating, you're not going to use that word background knowledge. So but background knowledge will be there in your mind. You will be thinking to understand, to clear your concept regarding that picture source. Then are there any real people in the cartoon? Yes, you can think about that as well, that if even there is any real person like Lord Curzon, right? That was a real person, and the statue was the observation or the idea of the cartoonist, right? Then you can see what is the cartoonist's opinion about that particular topic which is being portrayed. Like I guess almost I have discussed with that. Then in the last, you need to think, you need to see that caption is helping you to write the answer, and you have to see that whether you agree or disagree with the cartoonist opinion, right? If I can connect you with that War of Independence chapter, over there were 4 pictures, if you can recall. Over there, we have discussed some of the questions in which they were asking whether that picture is biased or not, right? So till here, any question or any confusion? If not, then I'll be ending this meeting and we can join in the next. All right. So Mustafa, biasness means when you are supporting, like if I'm Muslim, then I'm supporting Muslims only, right? I'm not supporting Hindus. So you are giving favor to one person instead of another. That is known as biasness, right? Bias. I hope it's clear to you, Mustafa and Ariba. Yeah, Hadia, you can say. All right, now I'm ending this meeting and I am going to restart, right? So that join the next meeting, all right?